because if you look at West Virginia, they have a much lower AIDS rate, yet.
Yeah, he's left for the evening. So anyway.
Hi, Joanne.
Turn off your mic, Boosh. Turn off your mic, Boosh. Alright, don't turn
I, for
off
one,
your mic.
do not believe in the institution of marriage. And I get a lot of shit women, all of which are married. But for me, it's like there should be a 5-year renewal clause on any marriage certificate that says after 5 years, both parties have to sign a piece of paper saying, I want to continue this marriage, and if not, the marriage is null and void. What do you think about that?
Well, most marriage is a religious deal, so I don't think it should be any of the government's damn business in the first place. They should just codify civil contracts between people. So if two people want to get married, there should be a civil contract, and it shouldn't be easy to undo it, but it should be relatively simple. You know, I mean, you just have the basic arrangement. You got to work out the finances and who violated who in the, you know. So you're going to need to have a legal process because women do end up giving up careers for their husbands and all that kind of crap, and there's got to be some sort of system of compensation and all that other bullshit. But it's just a contract. It's a legal contract defining a social relationship. And Jonas, you got to turn off your mic.
I'm still trying to figure it out because for me, it's as if I grew up in an era where I don't feel I look down on women, or I see women as some evil people who need my support. I mean, I picture myself marrying somebody who's as equally successful financially or more successful financially than me. And I mean, I don't know. This whole idea that they contributed blah 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 is kind of obsolete. I mean, most people, I imagine, in this day and age, there's going to be an equal partnership going on. So I don't know why all these legal tools.
I just don't think that's true. I mean, there's a lot of relationships where it's not. Especially if they decide to have kids, okay? And, so, I mean, the kid thing is definitely, that's an issue, because the woman's definitely paying more to have a kid than the man. She's making a bigger contribution to that, whatever price that is, physically and time-wise and the whole smear. And then you got the issue of, like I said, I think there's a lot of relationships where, I mean, he's going to med school and she's doing it. I mean, where it's just not an equal relationship. They're not two business people in a relationship, and they both have equal contributions. So, but whatever. I mean, people can. I mean, it's about kids, first of all. Like I said, I think you have to have a fucking contract if you're going to be having kids. So, I mean, right there has to be a contract.
Well, I guess I'm looking at it from maybe a professional standpoint. Like, I'm going into law school and I plan on marrying someone maybe who's taken schooling as well and who shouldn't have a problem making money. And it just seems so old school for me to think of women that way, as people who need help financially. Like, they've been in the workforce now for 30 decades, slowly increasing their status. And I mean, 50% of people who get into school and professional degrees and everything are women. And where's the money? The money is going to these women, and why isn't it reflected in the law? Like, why?
I don't know if it isn't reflected in the law, though. I mean, the laws in this country, you know, if the woman makes more money, she can end up paying support to the husband. So I mean, it's that equity has been sort of achieved. Like I said, the real thing is like I said, with there's kids and shit. And if she's a stay-at-home mom kind of thing, then there's always usually some sort of compensation for the fact that she hasn't invested in a career. So she's going to have less earning potential on her own.
Yeah, what about common law?
How can this guy say that? How can you say that you're going to law school and that women have had this opportunity for fucking 30 decades? That's fucking 300 years. That's older than the fucking United States of America. Have you read about the 26th Amendment or the 20th Amendment, bra burning, like all that shit?
I said 3 decades, buddy. 1970s.
Oh, you said 30 decades.
No, he said 3 decades. Whatever. I mean, you really think somebody would say 30 decades on purpose? I mean, I don't think I've ever heard somebody say, like, 40 decades ago. I mean, nobody says 30 decades, Bandit. So even if he said 30 decades, he obviously wouldn't have meant 30 decades, so you're just arguing with a mistake he would have made in his verbiage. So you're just being a fucking asshole, because nobody says 30 decades. Nobody's even said that before. In this Stickam room is probably the first time somebody ever said 30 decades. When would everybody use 30 decades? When would you use that in conversation? 30 decades ago? I mean, who the hell would say something like that?
Especially since I'm a history major. I mean, I might know what 30
Hey,
decades
bottom line is
are.
you said fucking 30 decades. I don't care if it was a fucking misspeak or whatever. And even if you said 30 decades, since the 1970s, it's been way before that as well.
He didn't say 30, so you got one witness that's against you anyway, and like I said, even if he did, even if I'm wrong, he's wrong, and any other witnesses who heard 3 is wrong,
Oh my God!
you're still
fucking mad at you guys
for
that are
arguing
fucking
it,
somebody
because it's a lame bullshit
arguing
argument.
because it's a lame bullshit argument. And you guys call women.
At least we know how to turn mics on and off.
Lag. It's fucking lag. But you guys fucking sit there and call women dumb when you guys are debating semantics on
Alright,
some
Bandit,
shit.
Bandit,
I mean,
what
oh
were
my
you
God.
saying?
And I'm fucking dumb. And I'm dumb? Come on. I'm fucking smarter than that fucking
Nobody
bullshit.
called you dumb, but whatever. We were talking about, like, you know how you're talking about how, like, you can smoke cigarettes and your baby comes out fine? I was talking, like, about those other women, okay, that doesn't know how to smoke cigarettes and have fine babies. So I was talking about a whole different kind of woman anyway. I wasn't talking about strong women. I was talking about them dumb little weak women.
And another thing that I'd like to actually clear up is this, you know, and even if, which I don't think I was wrong, where he said 30, but even if I was wrong on that, his reverb, well, I'm a fucking history major. So what kind of history do you have a degree in women's live history? Do you have a degree in ancient history? Do you have a degree in, you know, 1776 to modern day history? Do you have a degree in fucking, you know, what's your degree in history in? Because I have a degree in history, and for somebody to yell that, it's kind of fucking stupid.
Alright? You could say, well, I think your opinion sounds a little chauvinist. I mean, don't you realize the context that women have come from, and that, you know, they really should have a little bit of extra rights, okay, because they were extra wronged, you know? So what's the big deal? You gotta pay a little extra money to get out of marriage?
Big fucking deal. Shut up, bitch. Listen here, you know what? I don't have any fucking degrees in history. You know what? I don't have...
Like restitution for slavery.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter that we inherit getting money, and the black guy inherited. Oh yeah, that's right. It's not even a mule.
But I mean, it's just like one of those things, like, you know, if you get an argument with somebody about physics, and it's about, you know, like, about relative physics, or somebody has a degree in quantum physics, and they're like, oh, well, I have a degree I can't even talk with fucking Cinderella.
Pretty dumb not to be able to figure that out. Wait till we
Yeah, I'm fucking pounding on my shit. It doesn't fucking want a goddamn...
What my point was is that anytime you get in like a, you know, a debate with somebody, and like even if it's about a debate about physics and they have a degree in quantum physics and you're talking about relative physics, they're like, oh, I have a degree in physics. Yeah, well, what kind of fucking degree in physics do you have? Because there's about fucking 500 disciplines of physics. And it just doesn't mean you're a fucking expert on it because you learned about fucking quantum mechanics, that you're a fucking a physicist about every type of fucking physics, asshole.
Bandit, you're being an ass about this, okay? He just used it as a point to say, well, look, why would I say 30 decades? Especially since I'm a history major guy, okay? I've actually heard words like millennium and century, okay? I wouldn't say 30 decades ago, because nobody would do that, especially as professional historians.
It wasn't used to buttress an argument I had. You know, it was just to tell you, if I did say 30 decades, I certainly would know what 30 decades is and what might have happened back then and whatever. It had nothing to do with any kind of argument. But what did you have to say about the argument about women that I talked about? What's wrong with it?
Well, I think it's already been done, but whatever. I'll explain. Okay, what's wrong with it? He's just saying that there's a context to the circumstance that women have endured, and that it's not that big a deal. This little thing where you got to make a deal with the women to give them some kind of fair compensation for the fact that you do have a little more power than the woman does in society, generally speaking. And that's all. It's just a concession to hundreds of years, okay, of abuse. And we'll just make this little concession where, okay, it's a little unfair now maybe, but that's not a big deal. You can take it.
Well, to me, the hundreds of years doesn't mean shit because those particular women did not experience those hundreds of years. You know, the only reason I say this is because I have a huge amount of respect for women these days, and I've never looked down on a woman at all. I've always seen them as equals. That's how I've been brought up. I'm a Y Jenner.
Well, they're not equals, okay? They do have babies. They do have circumstances that are different than ours. And so it's just kind of stupid to say equals, because they're not equal. They don't get to play professional baseball.
I think even Bandit will agree with me. Bandit looks about my age.
They don't get to play professional baseball. They don't get to play professional basketball and make $1 million that way, do they? No, they don't. They have a lot of doors closed to them. They don't get to have a movie career even though they look like a horse's ass. Okay? They don't get to do a lot of things that men still get to do.
I don't know.
They get to be in porn, man.
Women these days do have a lot of opportunity, and university enrollment is actually higher for women than men. And I know that people around my age group listen to girls. They're not just the pushovers they might have been in, whatever, 1960s or 70s movies that I've seen around. Like,
not the fucking point. It's still not the fucking point. But you want to keep distracting from the conversation?
In this day and age, that's a good thing.
It's still not the fucking point. But you want to.
What do you mean, not the point? Like,
well, look, 90% of the corporate boardrooms are testicles. Okay, there is these glass ceiling things. There's all kinds of circumstances out there that make it so it isn't perfectly equal yet. It's a lot better than it was. There's big fucking improvements. And what is that you're complaining about? Exactly. Do you have some personal case you could show us where the man got totally screwed unfairly? Do you have something that you're complaining about? Because the law seems pretty fucking fair.
Okay, no, I don't. But all I'm saying is this corporate ceiling you're talking about is a